Okay, so I'm back, and I promised that once that I would provide video of the unit making sound. So this is going to be my attempt to do that. Unfortunately, my mic boom does not extend all that far, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me. So here is the .com modular, and I am it's currently at basically the minimum level that it can be at, and so such that you can still get sound out of it. The module off to the left is the MIDI interface, and that cable going into it is running from my computer, which will be providing MIDI signals later. It's all turned on. You can see the little red LED here on the oscillator, which basically is, you know, doubling as this thing is on light. And I will try not to bump into the camera too much. So the first patch we have to make using these nifty patch cords here is we will plug the MIDI interface basically splits incoming MIDI note signals from the computer into a number of voltages that the synthesizer can understand. So the first thing that we want to capture is to take the pitch information, which is the bottom left jack, and we want to route that to the 1 volt per octave input on the oscillator, which will basically give us, which is basically where it takes pitch input. So that's this jack right here. The next connection that we have to make goes from the, here I can use one of these smaller cables, goes from the sine output, which gives us a nice little sine wave on the oscillator, to the signal input number 1 on the amplifier, which is the very right hand side. So now we've got basically the entire chain of pitch. So it comes in MIDI, it goes out from the MIDI interface into the oscillator to tell it what pitch to generate, and then we get our nice sine wave at the appropriate pitch going into the amplifier signal input. Now the other thing we need, because otherwise this would just squeal at us all the time in whatever pitch it received last, is we need something to tell it when to play notes and when to not play notes. And that is from the gate input on the MIDI interface, which is this jack right here. And then we will route that into the gate input on the envelope generator. The envelope generator is basically just a system whereby you can create a curve that describes a control voltage that will start when it receives a gate signal and will stop when it doesn't. So we're going to use that to turn the amplifier on and off. So we're going to take its output, and we are going to stick it into control input number 1 on the amplifier. And then there's only one thing left to do, which is to jack the audio jack that goes to the computer into the output jack on the amplifier. Okay, so we're pretty much all set up to go. So I'm going to move, here I'll move this in a little bit. And I am going to move over to the computer and start this thing going. Okay, so let's give it some MIDI signals. There you have it. This is that's a sine wave coming out of the .com modular, and these are some of the first sounds this thing has made. Now I have a limited amount of control available in terms of things, you know, neat patches I can make and so on, but there are certain things that you can change, of course. The control number 1 level we can basically use as a volume dial. That's on the amplifier. The envelope generator, we can change how quickly the signal turns on and off. So I can give it a bit more slow of an attack and a bit slow, a bit more soft of a release there. Change the sustain level. That makes it so that it drops to a very low level after each note. And if I give it a longer attack, that'll change it. But quick attack, a bit more of a decay, we get sort of a pingy sound. We'll stand back up. Or on the oscillator itself, we can do a number of things. First of all, right now what we're hearing is the sine wave. We can switch it to the triangle. It sounds like that. Or the saw. We can go to the ramp, which is basically like a backwards saw, sort of. Sounds roughly the same, but you can do some interesting things with it. Or we can change to the pulse wave. Now the pulse wave has a width modifier, which is this dial right here. We can play with that. Flip back to a sine wave. We can change up here is basically the frequency range. There's a bunch of more stuff that we could do, but that's pretty much it for now. So there you have it, the .com modular producing sound by taking signals from the MIDI interface from my computer through all these patches I showed you with an oscillator, an envelope generator, and an amplifier, and then back out the output to the computer, which is what's recording this right now. Future videos will probably be much more interesting as I get more modules, but I hope this was fun.